Hello everyone and welcome back to part 10 of our MotoGP 24 Let's Play. Yes, we return this weekend here for the Italian Grand Prix, of course. If you missed out on the last video that went live from Barcelona, I think it was, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. It's safe to say things are continuing to heat up in the Riders' Championship at the moment. Furasato has a 20-point gap at the top of the table, but we are just 1 point back behind Joel Esteban after Tatsuki Suzuki had yet another disastrous run. Take a look at the other standings. It is Masia or Messiah, I would assume Masia. His 14-point lead in Moto2, and then of course in MotoGP it is still Jorge Martin with a 60-point lead over Brad Binder. But yeah, as we return though to Mugello this weekend, I believe it's the last race before the summer break. MotoGP works very, very differently to Formula 1, as in the summer break actually happens in like June, so pretty much now in real life, or next month. So then they kind of have a lot more races in the second half of the year, which obviously is going to mean that once we get into the second half of the season, rider transfers and things like that are going to start circulating. So we'll try and keep an eye on that as best as possible. Now, once again, after another decent result with P2 last time out, we're going to continue to bump up the AI. I'm going to tweak it all the way up to 80 now. We're going to continue trying to pushing ourselves towards the end of this first season. Trying to improve still on this game as best as possible. And I just want to say a massive thank you as well to everyone for the continued support on this series. We've actually overtaken Matt212 gameplay again on this channel, which I think is quite crazy. And I think, between MotoGP and the new F1 Manager game when that comes out towards the end of the year, I'm looking forward to hopefully doing more content on this channel as well. But yeah, let's head then to Mugello. It's been a while since I've, driven or ridden anything around this place, but hopefully we're going to have some fun.
Hello from the Italian circuit of Mugello. The second Moto3 practice session is about to start. A reminder, the first 14 riders in the combined times will gain direct access to Q2.
Well, from what I gather then, I believe Mugello is like one of the absolute pinnacles, one of the crown jewel events in MotoGP. This place hosts so much history and is probably one of the wildest circuits on the calendar. Obviously, we've only ever got to experience it once in the world of Formula 1, and, well, I can't lie, occasionally still I go back and watch some of those classic hot laps from 2020. Hamilton's ridiculous pole lap, George Russell with his foot pinned to the floor, despite making his way wide through the Arrabbiata corners as well. But yeah, I'm intrigued to see how it's going to handle on a motorbike. My guess is incredibly scary, and understandably, obviously, with a lot less aggression than what we need in Formula 1. But of course, yeah, we need to start thinking bigger picture as we head. I mean, we're only at 1/3 distance of the season, but we're still not often getting the best of Taio Furasato. So hopefully, maybe Joel Esteban and I need to kind of gang up on him, perhaps. Maybe that's a little bit suspect as well this season. But say, I've been reading through a lot of the comments from you guys as well, about maybe making the races longer, tyre wear, that kind of thing. I might look at it for when we move up to Moto2. Like I've said, this series, obviously, especially over the next few weeks, is, understandably going to play second fiddle to F1 24, so it'll kind of be when I've got some spare time from that, then I'll be jumping in with this game. So maybe when we move up to Moto2, I might make those changes as well. Yeah, I'll have to wait and see about that in the longer term. But yeah, thank you to everyone for the continued support. We're getting close to 1,500 subs on the channel as well. And like I said, this place is probably just going to be a hub for MotoGP and F1 Manager. So I feel like they're going to be two fun, sort of more chilled out games that we can really have a lot of fun with as we go through the rest of 2024. We make our way then out of the final corner. I mean, yeah, with all the long flowing corners around here, this circuit really is set up for MotoGP. Our first lap on the board is going to be a 2:04. I got no idea whether that's very good or not, but I guess we'll only really know once the AI start doing laps. As Holgado, first time round for him, half a second slower. There we go. As soon as I was starting to get a little bit confident about my times, Suzuki now immediately goes into the 2:03 flats. So yeah, AI are steadily improving. Of course, as always, we just want to try and make sure we're top 14 to make our way through into that second qualifying session. I believe it's a 7-lap race here this afternoon. I honestly thought lap times were going to be a bit longer here, as up towards the line then after my second run, we should dip into the 203s. We have done, but we're still 9/10ths back from Tatsuki. And a bit more bravery down at turn 1, and immediately 6/10ths has been found. That's the weird thing still on this game, is I feel like I'm pretty consistent, but occasionally there's like huge chunks I've left on a lap simply by just not being able to view the circuit like a motorbike rider would. We're making our way then in towards the final couple of corners. Suzuki once again lowers the benchmark at the top of the board. We are really able to throw this bike into the corners, and it's actually looking like it's going to be pretty close between myself and our P4 rider in the championship standings as we make our way up towards the line. It's going to be about half a tenth in it between the pair of us, but I think we are just going to leapfrog our way to the top of the board. Into the 202.6s we go, and that surely is enough to see us straight into Q2. Well, there we go then, taking a look at our combined practice results. We did end up fastest ahead of Suzuki there for Rosato. I mean, P4 in practice isn't bad going, but maybe slightly on the back foot as we head into the weekend there. Any other surprises? We often see Riccardo Rossi narrowly miss out and then make it through with the final 4. Paqueras down the order, more than he would have wanted. But yeah, let's head into qualifying.
We're back at the circuit for the second Moto3 qualifying session. The first riders are about to get out on track and battle their way to the best grid positions for tomorrow's race.
Well, as track temperature's starting to fall off, then you can see the venue is a lot more overcast as we head into Saturday's qualifying. Not sure how that's going to affect times here around this venue. Usually we expect to see the AI finding a few more tenths of a second between practice and qualifying. I certainly don't think we're going to see anyone going into the 2-minute ones, but whenever I've said that before so far this game, suddenly then I seem to find a new benchmark for myself. As Suzuki making his way out of the pit lane, so happy we're not going to get stuck behind him, but he certainly is a benchmark as we chuck it in towards that first corner. So scary as you go over the rise and then try and get the bike through both the left and the right. The Arrabbiata corners, they're pretty scary in a race car, never mind on a motorbike, but yeah, say that final one, I think one of the good things actually about this bike having such little power, and the fact that seemingly, at least in my mind, it handles pretty well through the corners, is that that final Arrabbiata actually isn't that difficult as long as you've got the bike in the right spot. I hate to imagine how scary it's going to be in the race though, but this first lap's felt good. Chucking it nice and deep into that final corner, and then you've got to try and get back to the apex as the circuit falls away from you on the exit. There is a little bit of camber, but it's quite deceiving actually. I think you kind of feel that it drags the bike in more than it actually ever ends up doing. It's up towards the line now, and he's going to be a 2:02.7, so pretty much matching the times that Suzuki and I set yesterday. Not bad for a benchmark. I'll finding more and more time then, as there we go. I've finally worked out where the long lap penalty is around this venue. We could be getting very, very close to the 2:01s here, but are we going to see the AI able to set some good lap times as well then? Not the ideal line through that final chicane. Joel Esteban goes just under a tenth clear of myself, but surely we're going to be improving as we round our way through this final corner. Tip the nose in, try and use the rider's helmet to kind of work out where my line is. Or a little bit wide on the exit. That's going to compromise my run slightly, but surely this is going to push us straight to the top of the board. We have got Suzuki though coming up very quickly behind me as a 2:02.3. Suzuki doesn't, only goes P4. Oh, that is not the line. That is not the line down to the Arrabbiatas. Furusato has improved, goes half a tenth behind me, so we aren't home and dry yet, despite our early margin, but I'm not convinced we're going to be able to find much more time. Well, right at the end of the session then, Joel Esteban got the better of me by just 1/100th of a second. Colin Vire and David Alonso, out of nowhere, both dip into the low 2:01s, so no idea how they managed that at the end of qualifying there. But Colin Vire, the Dutchman, I think that's his third, maybe even his fourth pole position of the year, but that came in absolutely dominant circumstances at the end of the session. A little bit of a mix-up further back. Joe Kelso gets between our two Japanese title rivals as well. But we're going to be starting a little bit further down the order then, as the pace, it spread out again. I'm trying to remember where it was. It spread out a couple of weeks ago. I think it was at Le Mans, wasn't it? And seems to have done the same here.
Good morning from Gavin Emmett at the Mugello circuit. We are live for one of the most impressive events of the entire championship. The atmosphere the Italian fans create on these hillsides is simply incredible. Just a few more moments and we'll switch to the starting straight for the Moto3 class race. These shots coming to us live from the grid where technicians and engineers are carrying out final checks on the bike before the start. These shots coming to us live from the grid where technicians and engineers are carrying out final checks on the bike before the start. The sky is cloudy, but the weather will hold up throughout the race. The circuit should remain dry. The temperature will help consumption levels, with many riders discarding soft tyres and opting for medium tyres on both the front and rear instead.
There we are then, down at the track side. Our big goal though today is actually just to try and beat Rueda before the summer break then, and trying to convince Gas that we are kind of the top priority within the team. I honestly felt the championship standings showcased that already, but we'll let them kind of deal with it as and how they wish to. Both sets mediums though, front and rear. Let's do this thing.
The start of the Italian Grand Prix here at Mugello, just a few moments away now. And very soon we'll see the riders powering down to the San Donato corner.
Here we go then, waiting on those 10 red lights. I'm going to try once again with the traction control. But I'm not convinced it makes much difference. No, it doesn't. Struggling once again with the bog down off the start. As you can see, I mean, that's Suzuki and Furusato immediately trying to make big moves down in towards turn 1. Angel Paqueras as well. Trying to have a look there. There's a lot of variation in people's run in towards that first corner. And Colin Vyers, I think, has gone backwards. Yeah, there he is, down to P3s. We've already got one rider down. Not too sure who that is, as I've been taken out as well. Wonderful. No idea who that was that just ran into the back of me. But our start has been made a whole lot worse there. I think it was actually Tatsuki Suzuki who went into me. So a third race in a row where Suzuki's been involved in problems early on. Looks like only one rider is out, though, of the race, and Suzuki already 5 seconds behind me, as we've got to try and get back past Fernandez. It's a good thing for both Fernandez and myself, as it kind of allows us a little bit of time to try and get into a rhythm here. But also, of course, as the AI continue to battle and cost each other time up the road, we will hopefully be back with them in the not-too-distant future. But yeah, I mean, Joel Esteban surely sensing an opportunity for a second win of the season as the long way around. Adrian Fernandez, look at that for a move. We're definitely building up confidence on these bikes. It seems, yeah, that races are getting more and more violent early on. There seems to be more and more incidents going on as the season picks up, as I thought we were going to get a track limits warning for that. We certainly didn't gain anything from it. As Angel Paqueras picks up another warning. Some of you guys as well were saying if we enable strict track limits, that it will start seeing loads of penalties coming in for the other riders, which apparently is like the norm in MotoGP. Again, that might be something I look at when we move up to Moto2, simply because not only might the AI get a lot of penalties, but also I still feel that I would as well. We're a little bit all over the place still, especially when I haven't played the game for a couple of days like today. But yeah, just monitoring the gaps of the top riders. Furusato now at the front. And is still definitely quicker than me at the moment. Well, we've got to be a bit methodical now as well. Once we get back in with the AI, as always, well, seems like a couple at the front have been able to pull away. I'll back out of that one. We certainly weren't going to try and claim an unfair advantage by completely cutting the final chicane. But yeah, there we go. That basically sums up about my track limits still, as I think that's Patelli and Farago, I want to say. I feel like I'm definitely getting better with the names, but I still feel like it's quite a lot. And I'm yet to work out there, as we'll try and get out of the slipstream, tuck back in with the next rider up the road. Maybe just bump shoulders as well, remind these guys that they aren't really the riders we're in a fight with. 250 clicks though. Pretty much got this Moto3 bike at maximum capacity there as we make our way. Oh, almost getting absolutely lunged into, but we make it through that first gaggle. We're back into P18. Oh, no, almost not. This is the problem as well, obviously, you've got in these races where you get taken out early on. Yes, we've still got the pace over most of the AI. Hence, obviously, why we're normally in that little group at the front that are able to pull away and go like a second a lap faster. Unfortunately, obviously, now we basically just spend the entire race trying to get back past as many riders that are just slower than me. So it can be a little bit of a weird one. It sometimes doesn't give me a good indicator as to whether I've got the AI balance quite right, but we are still losing time to Esteban and Furusato as we continue having to battle our way through. Our fastest lap, though, only 3/10 away as we move up towards Ogden. Late on the brakes around the outside of the pair that I believe have come together a couple of times. Don't crash into me, please. I beg of you all, give me more space, as we will very much not return the favour. I apologise. I think I've just... No, I didn't take him out. What is that? You're completely over the curbs. You can't just dive me like that. By pure chance as well, it feels like I'm closing in on the AI, kind of their little clusters, every single time by the time we get back to the front straight. So not only are we kind of moving through a lot of the AI, but we're also moving through them in what often is described as quite a boring way. Trying to work out, I think Ruida is right at the front of this gaggle, because it seems to just be Furusato and Joel Esteban and that have really been able to break free. So obviously we still need to try and beat Ruida here as we go down the inside, down at turn 1. A little bit of contact once again, but that seems to be the norm now in this series there, as we've got one of the Red Bull KTM riders. I don't quite know how Red Bull in MotoGP works. It seems like they've got like 6 different teams, so maybe a little bit like Formula 1, or perhaps closer to Formula 2 actually, where they just seem to hire basically anyone that moves for a season. But yeah, as we try and navigate our way through the S, it's actually nice to have a battle with the AI through some of the twistier bits. Joel Kelso just outside of the points. We'll try and switch. No idea who this is, to be completely honest. Down in towards the Arabiatas. Are we going to be able to run nice and wide? Nope, we're actually going to get dive bombed by the KTM riders. Rounding outside of the pair of them, though. As we make our way up the hill, can we hook it up the long way around? Yes, we can. As Angel Paqueras and Joel Kelso having a good little duke out as well. Thought for a moment then I might get dive bombed, but we broke a bit later into the corner. Or Kelso not getting the run through the chicane. Him and Paqueras still slowing each other down. So we're going to try and have a look down the inside. Just 2 laps to go. And Joel Kelso says absolutely not, apparently. Might be able to try and get him on the exit. Nope, we're going to push him. We're going to be 3 wide on the exit of the corner. Certainly not afraid to rub elbows with the other riders now. I'm kind of learning what you all can and can't get away with. So towards the start-finish line again. Ruida is definitely in this gaggle of riders just in front. So is one of my arch enemies, Riccardo Rossi, though. Seeing all of these guys just slowing each other down a little bit is ideal for us. Ruida down to P8 in that little group as we run wide. Come on, we've got to try and get in with them, though. We have still got 1 more lap after this one. To be honest, I had in my head for some reason this race was only 6 laps. I don't really know why. But I would also love to try and get fastest lap, showcase that, you know, when we're in the clear air, how we've definitely still got the pace to be fastest of the lot. Yeah, I don't know. I think Joel Esteban and Furusato have pulled away. I think David Alonso is actually in a lonely P3. So I don't think any podium is going to be doable today. But this group extends up to what? 6th? Would be, I think, tied our worst result of the year. 6th or 5th. Obviously, we had those 2 6th places at the start of the campaign. But when you consider everything that's happened, I wouldn't be too gutted. Oh, Riccardo Rossi, he's done a brilliant line there to try and get a move down the inside of Ruida. In towards the final corner. We will let this unfold. And we will try to switch in there. As you can see, the riders fanning out down the inside of Ruida will go. That'll be 1. Thank you very much. Oh, Tiga, I think that is... Next up is Riccardo Rossi. What's he doing? We're doing 220 clicks and you're trying to bang wheels with me. We'll kind of return the favour, I guess, as we make our way down in towards turn 1. There's Holgado. Here's Nepper as well. We've got a bit too much speed there as... Well, maybe just swinging out an arm to try and rebalance ourselves. I wouldn't recommend that. Keep both hands on the handlebars. A little bit of grass through turn 1. But yeah, this is getting all nip and tuck right towards the end. As we got a rider down... Who is that? Oh, it's Riccardo Rossi. Am I surprised? Not particularly. I mean, what is this? The KTM rider down the middle is just trying to wiggle with both of us. I get absolutely mugged there. As that was obviously Ruida as well. And we try and get a run off of the turn again. We just can't quite do anything at the moment. But once more, these Moto3 races are delivering chaos. As Riccardo Rossi, I don't think he's actually fallen off. I think he was at blame for maybe someone else coming off of their bike. But as we make our way... I mean, what is that? He's got just, I can't work out if he's brave or stupid, or maybe a combination of the both. Because every single time I get a rogue dive bomb, it always seems to be Riccardo Rossi. Down in towards the final few corners, though, of this race. We make our way through Scout Pereira. I probably butchered that name. Why on earth did I ever try and do Italian pronunciation here? We've got more important things on our mind, because the top 5 finish is still possible. As Ruida senses the inter-team battle. It could be quite important here, as we'll switch him on the exit, though. Anything you can do, sir. I can do better. Just 3 more corners to go, though. And that is going to be a beautiful line through navigating our way between the curbing. Are we going to be able to get close enough, though, to Nepa to get a run? We might even get a look in. So we'll see. Oh, no, he's going to run into the back of him down the inside through the final corner. We'll get the throttle down. We might even have helped Ruida out with a run off the corner as well. For Rossato, he's going to win again. Joel Esteban comes through for P2, but from the back of the field, we are going to recover to P5.
While we wait for the director to take us to the Parc Ferme to meet today's stars, let's take a quick look at the final results of this Moto3 race.
Furusato then taking the win by just 1/10 of a second over Joel Esteban. Colin Vaya and David Alonso duked it out for that final podium, but it is going to be the Dutchman, I believe for the first time this season, that is going to be on the podium at the end of the day there. We do take fastest lap, so pretty happy with that. Only half a tenth clear of Furusato at the end of the day, and like we said, a very, very good recovery ride, all things considered there. In terms of Suzuki, 24th, last of the riders once again to finish this one, as Holgado and Carraro both fail to see the checkered flag there. Taking a look at the bigger picture, though, 10 points now the gap between myself and Esteban, as Suzuki barely scored any in the last 4 rounds or so, but Furusato still has a 25-point lead at the top of the table there as well. And in the Teams Championship, we are down to P4. We were leading, apparently, coming into this one, but not the ideal weekend for Red Bull Gas Tech 3 there. A catchy name, it must be said. But thank you all so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we'll be back very soon. I've got no idea where we're heading next, though. It might be Silverstone. I feel like that's often the first race after the summer break.